What does it take to rewire the world? To literally redraw the maps of trade, influence, and power. 12 years ago, China launched an answer to that question, the Belt and Road Initiative. A modern Silk Road, not of silk and spice, but of concrete, steel, fiber optics, and billions of dollars in loans.
This name is a direct callback to history. The original Silk Road was never a single road, but a sprawling network of trade routes connecting the East and West for centuries. It moved more than just luxury goods. It was a highway for the exchange of knowledge, ideas, culture, and technology, from papermaking and gunpowder to mathematics and religions.
It's arguably the most ambitious geopolitical project of the 21st century, spanning over 150 countries with estimates ranging from $1 to trillions of dollars already invested. But after 12 years, the question isn't about ambition, it's about impact. Has it been an engine of mutual growth or a debt trap for the developing world?
Let's begin with the physical legacy, because it is undeniably impressive. The BRI has built bridges, ports, and power plants where there was only need. Our first stop is Pakistan. The China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, or CPEC, is the BRI's flagship project, with over $60 billion pledged. It's not just one thing, it's a network of over 50 projects. It built the Succar-Multan Highway, a 392-kilometer lifeline that cut travel time in half. It constructed power plants like the Port Qasim Coal Power Plant, which alone provides enough electricity for over 4 million homes, helping to end the crippling blackouts that plagued Pakistan's industry for decades.
But the crown jewel is the deep-water Gwadar port. Once a small fishing village, it's being transformed into a strategic hub on the Arabian Sea. The vision? Give Western China direct access to the Indian Ocean, shaving thousands of kilometers off shipping routes and bypassing the strategic choke point of the Strait of Malacca. Next, to Europe. China's COSCO Shipping acquired a majority stake in Piraeus Port, Greece in 2016. The transformation is a business school case study. Under Greek management, it was struggling. COSCO invested heavily in new cranes, logistics centers, and deeper berths. The result? Container traffic quadrupled, making it one of the fastest-growing ports in the world and the Mediterranean's #1 port. It became China's gateway to Europe, creating thousands of local jobs and revitalizing the Greek economy during its debt crisis. And in East Africa, the Addis Ababa-Djibouti Railway, a $4.5 billion electrified railway, halved the travel time for goods from landlocked Ethiopia to the coast. For Ethiopia, a nation desperate to become a manufacturing hub, this wasn't a luxury. It was a necessity. It's estimated to be boosting Ethiopia's GDP by simplifying trade and attracting foreign investment. But the story gets even bigger. Look to Southeast Asia, where China is literally carving a nation in two. In Malaysia, the $100 billion forest city is a mind-bending project. An entire eco-smart city of the future, built from scratch on 4 artificial islands, designed to house nearly 1 million people. It's a staggering bet on future regional wealth. Then there's Indonesia's $7.3 billion Jakarta-Bandung high-speed railway, the fastest in Southeast Asia. This project is a statement. It's the first time Chinese high-speed rail technology has been fully exported overseas, cutting a journey that once took over 3 hours down to just 40 minutes, and fiercely competing with Japanese rail technology for regional influence. And we cannot forget the Padma Bridge in Bangladesh. For decades, the mighty Padma River divided the country, stifling the economy of its southern region. Building a bridge was a national dream, but one too complex and expensive for most to attempt. Then came Chinese engineering and financing. The result? A 6-kilometer engineering marvel that is now the pride of the nation, connecting millions of people to the capital Dhaka and boosting national GDP by an estimated 1.2%. Finally, look at the map of Africa. In Djibouti, a tiny nation on the Horn of Africa, BRI investment has been so vast that it now accounts for over 70% of its foreign investment. It's home to the Doralay multipurpose port, a key naval node, and even the first overseas Chinese military support base, showcasing how economic and strategic interests are inextricably linked. From artificial islands to mountain-piercing railways, the physical footprint of the BRI is rewriting the literal landscape of entire continents.
But this infrastructure came with a price tag, and that's where the narrative gets murky. The single biggest criticism is debt diplomacy. The textbook example is Sri Lanka's Hambantota port. Funded by Chinese loans, the port struggled to attract traffic and became a financial white elephant. When Sri Lanka couldn't service the $1.3 billion debt, it wasn't simply forgiven. In 2017, the government leased the port and 15,000 acres of land around it to a Chinese state-owned company for 99 years. Critics, like then US Vice President Mike Pence, called it a debt trap. Beijing and Sri Lankan officials argued it was a straight commercial decision, a way to restructure debt and attract investment. But the optics created a powerful cautionary tale that spooked other nations. This pattern of large, opaque loans has led to serious debt distress. According to the World Bank, over 60% of China's loans to low-income countries are now in financial distress. Countries like Kenya, Laos, and Zambia have seen their sovereign debt to China skyrocket, forcing them to spend huge portions of their national revenue on debt repayment, sometimes diverting funds from healthcare and education. However, it's important to note that China has, in some cases, responded to this distress. Faced with the potential of widespread defaults and the political blowback, China has engaged in debt renegotiations and has even canceled interest-free loans that were maturing for some developing nations. For instance, China has canceled interest-free loans for multiple African nations and, in 2022, pledged to forgive 23 interest-free loans for 17 African countries. This demonstrates a pragmatic, if selective, flexibility in its approach, often to maintain diplomatic goodwill and long-term relationships, even as larger commercial rate loans remain a significant burden. Beyond debt, there are significant social and environmental concerns. In Indonesia, the $6 billion Jakarta-Bandung high-speed railway faced years of delays due to land disputes and environmental complaints about its route through protected areas. In Ecuador, the massive Coca-Cola Sinclair hydroelectric dam, built by Chinese companies, has been plagued by thousands of cracks, raising fears of a future collapse, and its construction is linked to accelerated erosion that is destroying indigenous villages downstream. There's also the issue of imported labor. While local jobs are created, many high-skilled engineering and managerial roles often go to Chinese workers, limiting the skills transfer and local economic benefit. So, with all these challenges, is the BRI failing? Far from it. Its most profound impact might be invisible to most. It's fundamentally rewriting the rules of global logistics. The China-Europe railway network is the backbone of this. Imagine a continuous ribbon of steel connecting factories in Shenzhen to markets in Stuttgart. There are now over 80 routes. In 2023, over 17,000 freight trains made this journey. For a product like a German car part or a Chinese laptop, it offers a perfect middle ground, cheaper than air freight and twice as fast as a sea voyage. But geopolitics forces adaptation. The traditional route through Russia is now fraught due to sanctions from the war in Ukraine. This has suddenly made the middle corridor a top priority. This route runs through Central Asia, the Caucasus, and Turkey, bypassing Russia entirely. It's more complicated, involving multiple transfers between train, truck, and ferry. But it's becoming vital for Europe-bound goods, boosting the economies of countries like Kazakhstan and Georgia in the process. We're also seeing the rise of dry ports, massive inland logistics hubs like the one in Kyrgyz-China border. It's a transfer point where Chinese rail gauges meet Soviet-era wider gauges. Every container must be lifted and moved. It's a tedious process, but it symbolizes the new reality.
The world's economic geography is being redrawn, with these inland hubs becoming as strategically important as coastal ports once were. So, 12 years on, what is the final verdict on the Belt and Road Initiative? The simplistic binary of success or failure is useless. The reality is a complex tapestry of undeniable achievement and serious self-inflicted problems. Yes, it has built critical infrastructure and boosted trade. Yes, it has saddled nations with debt and created geopolitical dependencies. The BRI is not charity. It is a strategic long game. It secures trade routes for Chinese goods, creates new markets for its companies, and exports Chinese standards, from rail gauges to digital payment systems.
In response to criticism, China is already pivoting to a BRI 2.0, smaller, greener, and more focused on digital and health projects. It's more open to debt restructuring and co-financing with Western banks, showing it's learning from its mistakes.